Some teenagers get up every day trying to not fall apart. For some, it doesn't matter to go to school or hang out with their friends. They are under too much pressure. It is caused by their families. It is something they see on social media. We don't know. It is easy for us to talk about weight problems or mental diseases like depression, anxiety, or mental illness that affect the people exist. After all, if I'm not the one with a mental problem, I won't know how does it feel or why does it happen. That's the logic some people have. Combined with not knowing what does it happen with their friends, sons, brother, or closer ones. According to our research made before the pandemic, 2018, by Statista, a portal dedicated to creating opinion, market, and population studies, most of the US teenagers are experiencing depression these last years. After the pandemic, it is said that these kind of problems have been increasing a lot. According to the World Health Organization, 1 in 7 young people aged 10 to 19 suffers from a mental disorder. A type of disorder accounts for 13% of the global burden of disease in this age group. They also say that depression, anxiety, and behavioral disorders are among the main causes of illness and disability among teenagers. This is why this is not only an important topic, and is one that has been discussed many times in our environments, such as entertainment. It is also a delicate subject. Many people still don't know how to deal with this type of things, while others find it painful to talk about it. The lack of knowledge of some of these issues is what leads to the realization of this documentary. So, today I want to share an answer to the question: why does mental health problems such as depression or anxiety are increasing in teenagers or young people in these recent years? These problems are seen through the world, but looking a little more deeper into it, how do young people with a mental problem normally feel? Well, the National Institute of Health detailed that people with depression normally feel anxious, useless, or even empty. It is important that we separate these from other kinds of negative emotions. Teens Health, a page of updated and accurate health information, details that negative emotions help us face the challenges of everyday life, which can be simple or more important things, like sadness, which help us face situations in our lives, or stress, which make us remind of the obligation we have as rational beings. Another example is anxiety, which, although it can be seen as a mental disorder, is normal when it's controlled or is due to nerves. The problem is clearly when these kind of things goes further, when sadness makes us feel irritated, or stress makes us feel frustrated or agitated constantly. Feel these kind of things constantly will be the case of a person with depression, according to many testimonies. For the making of this documentary, a survey was conducted, in which 8 out of 10 young people surveyed answered yes to having a problem with depression or anxiety, which are the most common mental problems. And they also mentioned that their sleep schedule was very in control, that they lost energy more quickly, or that they feel restless all the time, many of the symptoms that have been discussed for years. One expressed the experience as being at the bottom of the sea, where if he had tried to go up to the surface, the more he would go down. It is difficult for all those who suffer from these kind of conditions to get out of them. That is the reality, and so few of us understand the seriousness that many young people have in their minds. Not to mention that we have not touched an important issue, and that is the consequences that this brings. The World Health Organization indicated in 221 that suicide is the fourth cause of death among young people aged 15 to 29. It is painful to think of an exit like this, where apparently is what many young people chose, when they could not take it anymore, when they had no support or help from anyone else. Molly Russell, 14 years old, took her own life in 2017. It is known that the girl suffered from a depressive disorder at such an early age, but the important thing is the tool she used the most during her life to express this, and that possibly led her to make this decision. the so An study in 2020 showed that the pandemic was the year with the most suicides in Mexico. Although this can be generated due to the isolation of many people or the economic crisis generated in many countries, including this. In the case of the teenagers, there is another reason. It is well known that social networks can influence some of our decisions compared to other media or people, especially young people of younger ages, who are easily influenced by what they see on the internet. Social networks are an important element in the lives of today teenagers, that is clear. So it is obvious that they can also affect their behavior. The Royal Society of Public Health conducted a survey of young people between 14 and 24 that indicates that in their country, pages like Twitter and Instagram increased low self-esteem, a problem that in turn led to a greater anxiety or more feelings of loneliness. Isolation on social media also increases this kind of feelings. Teenagers are the second population that feels the most alone, according to this graph from last year 2023. For this topic, spending hours in front of the networks is not a good idea, because every day things are published that are not always properly monitored, and young people themselves often do not have supervision to access to the publications they find. If a teenager were to spend hours in social media, he or she could end up seeing something that we call his or her own mentality to decline. And of course, isolation, feeling of loneliness or lack of empathy is very common, due to the networks themselves. Can cause many young people not to know how to socialize correctly or not to seek help, leading to problems such as those seen above and others. In the survey that was carried out for this documentary, of the 8 young people who said they had suffered from a mental illness such as depression, only 4 said they had gone to the psychologist, which would be only the half. Data that is often related to real life. Many pages, such as the American Psychologists Association, detail that not seeking help and repressing these emotions will not only worsen the mental conditions in which people find themselves, but many look for other ways to feel good, which is related to some of the consequences that are usually seen in today's youth, such as cigarette use, which has continued over the years as is shown in these graphs. Stress, depression, and anxiety in today's youth is not only related to social networks and the pressure that they something exert of them. It can also be related to other types of pressure, such as family or school pressure. In order to understand why many of today's young people are not able to see happiness as exactly as a slice of cake, we must see the interview that was made with a psychologist in the making of this documentary.
¿Dónde crees que se origina la depresión en los jóvenes de hoy?
Bueno, hoy en día la depresión en jóvenes se presenta debido a muchos factores, ¿sí? Por ejemplo, los jóvenes hoy en día no sabemos o no saben canalizar sus emociones y no saben comunicar las cosas a tiempo para evitar pues un trastorno grave como la depresión. Entonces, de cualquier problema que les ocurra, bien sea en familiar, en la escuela, en la universidad, eh, no lo hablan a tiempo, no saben cómo buscar alternativas o soluciones y desencadenan este tipo de trastornos.
¿Qué impacto tienen las redes sociales en la salud mental?
Las redes sociales en la salud mental tienen un impacto bueno o malo dependiendo del uso que tú le des, ¿sí? Por ejemplo, en personas que son con trastornos, que están diagnosticadas con trastornos mentales, en algunos casos lo que hacen es empeorarlos, porque los aíslan, los apartan y puede aumentar más el trastorno
¿A qué
mental.
nivel es normal que los jóvenes presenten problemas de ansiedad o de salud mental?
Ok, listo. ¿En qué nivel no es tan grave la ansiedad o los problemas mentales en que la persona se en que la persona deje de ser funcional en sus diferentes áreas de ajuste. Entonces, en lo personal, en las relaciones interpersonales, en el trabajo, en el estudio, en la salud, en ese nivel sería hablar de normalidad.
Ok.
Ya si se sale de estos ámbitos, ya deja de ser algo normal, entre comillas. Ya
Vale.
necesita una atención especial.
Tu opinión, ¿cómo pueden afectar las enfermedades mentales el comportamiento de los jóvenes?
Bueno, como te digo anteriormente, si deja de funcionar tus áreas de ajuste, ya el comportamiento está afectado. Entonces, sí es necesario como ver qué tan avanzado esté o no el trastorno mental y qué tan grave es que influye en tus áreas, en tu estudio, en tus relaciones interpersonales, en tu trabajo, todo esto.
And, even after all that has been said, it is very likely that an answer as such has not been found. But is that because human beings are made to have lots of emotions and problems? Is it because pressure is something natural and is everyone throughout our lives? Is there no answer to why, but only how it can affect us? Depending on who you ask, these questions can have one answer or another. And that is because, in my opinion, many parts of human psychology are simply impossible to detail. We cannot find a sincere answer to why depression has grown significantly beyond a lot of things. That listing them will not help us all at all. Maybe it's economic or academic stress. Maybe it's the excessive use of social networks. Maybe it's the isolation from other people. These are all things that we could all go through at any time, and there is no point in complaining or getting angry about it. It is natural to feel bad about ordinary things, and it is normal that in these times people grow with more obligations or more problems as their life progresses. Is that all? Do we simply have to resign ourselves to the fact that mental problems are increasing in the population without us knowing the cause? No. The answer is no. We must show our support to the people we know who suffer from these problems so they can slowly heal and they can slowly start to ask for help. Unlike what many do and not take drastic action that could change their life by not finding an escape from feeling sad.